Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka Mono Bluetron, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. Now, for those of you who know me very well, you know that Ritual Beast will be the hill I die on. I was there for the good times, when we could clean up against any meta deck, and I was there for the bad times. Well, I mean, really, the one very bad time. Konami threw us a little bit of reparations with Winda, but nothing really fulfilled the itch for us RB players. So since then, I've been trying to stuff a hole in my heart that won't get filled, and I might have finally found the hole stuffer I was looking for, Windwitch. So we're playing a deck straight off of Zodiac's Rights Forum and winner of the 2015 National Whining Championships, Reddit.com. Someone floated the idea of Windwitch Ritual Beasts in a comments section a little while ago, and I think it was meant to be sarcastic, but I threw together a deck list and decided to give it a go. The idea here is that Windwitch is designed to be an intensely powerful way to make Crystal Wing, but it has this summoning restriction that most other decks can't deal with. For the few that can, however, it is a godsend because you don't use your normal summon, so decks that are slow and bad, like Ritual Beasts, can still do their plays. Additionally, what better use of Valentine's Day than to celebrate the pure love of card game players and the greatest waifu to ever exist, Winda. So, as always, let me explain both archetypes, let you know what I hope they do together, and then I will give you the card by card. First, for those of you who don't know, Ritual Beast is an archetype that, oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know if any other archetype has ever been treated this badly by Konami. It's a combo deck that relies on opening one of several hands, but usually Elder plus Canahawk, to go in and out of their tribal contact fusions. Once they have their banished zone sufficiently set up, they can port into Ulti Canahawk, right here, which has two effects: return 2 Ritual Beasts to the grave to add 1 from your deck to your hand, and port back out. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a fun and interesting game, there's this weird ruling where if you send 2 RB cards from your grave back, then chain the port out and return one of the cards you're going to send back, only 1 RB card goes to the graveyard, but you still get to search from deck. It's sloppy and it's weird, but it's this ruling that basically the entire archetype is built upon. The 2 cards you're always searching are Ritual Beast Steeds, a non-targeting monster removal spell, and Ritual Beast Ambush, a double Call of the Haunted. The other Ritual Beasts help to extend plays, they disrupt, they set up OTKs, and sometimes they even do their best Canahawk impression. They can also only be special summoned once per turn, so the deck can get kind of tricky. The Tamers themselves, which hilariously have Ritual Beast in their name by virtue of being called Spiritual Beasts, get the beast back from the grave and the banished zone. It's a great archetype, and it's historically found a lot of success, but then Konami put their main searcher to 1 and made the entire deck dead to a single Solemn Strike, so yeah. One of the problems of Ritual Beast, aside from the obvious one, has been a lack of playables. You don't really want to play all of the Tamers because they're fine as one-ofs, and opening multiple Tamers or multiple Beasts is a bit of a brick. Because of this, there's room for another engine, and I think Windwitch might actually be the one. Windwitch is a new archetype that basically, it just exists to make Crystal Wing. They do burn damage, sure, but they're not that good at anything but getting out a 3-star, a 4-star tuner, and a 1-star tuner, which you might notice adds up to 8. The theory here is that making a turn 1 Crystal Wing is enough to slow some decks down to the point where Ritual Beast can go off repeatedly, and in games where you get to both execute the Ritual Beast game plan turn 1 and make Crystal Wing turn 1, it's nuts. So, let's do the cards. First, for our Ritual Beast monsters, we have 2 Apelio, sets up OTKs and lets your beast's low attack get pumped to reasonable levels. Next is 3 Rampengu. With this, you can send a Ritual Beast fusion from your banished zone to send the corresponding beast to the grave. When Dimfizz is out, this is better than Canahawk. Next, 3 of the main man himself. Canahawk lets you gold Sark guys from your deck, though you very rarely add them to your hand. The new include for the deck is Winda as a 2-of. She has a protection effect, which makes her a great normal summon on big boards as like Regeki Insurance, and she can special summon Ulti Gaiapello when she dies, but it's unreliable, obviously. Mostly she's just a beast and a tamer because of the way her name works, so there she is. Finally, we have 1 Petalfin. This is just to disrupt your opponent and have an additional name. On to the Tamers. We have 3 of Elder Tamer Man. This is the portion of the Elder Canahawk combo that I like the least. It allows you to normal summon once again when you normal summon him. 3 copies of Wen doing its best impression of Elder with our 3 copies of Golden Sarcophagus she gets from the banished zone. Next is Lara and Zeframplica, which reborn from the graveyard. That's all for our Ritual Beast monsters. Next is the Windwitch shit. We have 3 copies of the good one. Ice Spell, you can special her if you have no monsters. Then you can special 1 Windwitch from your deck. 2 of the bad one, Glass spell. We have to play 2 in case we draw one because it can't special from hand. When she is normal or special, she gets us our one of Snowbell, which when it makes a synchro monster, that monster can't be destroyed by card effects, which is great on Crystal Wing, as you might have guessed. Next are our spells. We have 1 copy of 1-for-1 to get our Lara or our Snowbell, I suppose. 1 copy of Upstart because it's a good card. 3 copies of Golden Sarcophagus, very good for setting up the Banish Zone in this specific deck and facilitating Wen plays as well. 1 Emergency Teleport to get Tamers. We then have our 3 Steeds, our 3 Ambush. Steeds, of course, destroying monsters and non-targeting. Ambush returning 1 from the graveyard or banished Ritual Beast, and 1 from the graveyard or banished Spiritual Beast Tamer. Really, really excellent card. 1 Solemn, and finally our little macro suite. Since the deck gets a giant boost by playing under macro, and since so many decks suck ass against it, hopefully we can cheese out some wins and extend our own plays. In the extra, we have, for Ritual Beast guys, 2 Ulti Gaiapello. You can go into him from Winda, but you also need him to send off of Rampengu in order to send Tamers to the graveyard. 2 Apelio. I really don't like going out into this guy. Previously, you would set up OTKs by going out into him, but 2600 is not actually a lot of damage. He has a discount Armades effect. He can't be specifically affected by spells when he attacks, but, you know, they can still activate them and everyone else can. 2 copies of Petalfin. We need to be playing 2, obviously, so we can send 1 to Rampengu, but you can go into this in order to set up some sort of defensive option on an otherwise very offensive board. 1 Canna Hawk. God, I miss you, Ulti Canahawk. Next, we have our Synchros. We have 1 copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, the main man himself. When this guy can't be destroyed by card effects, it's basically Kaiju or bust. 1 Winterbell just to get there, and 1 Chambara instead, in case we find ourselves with like a Snowbell and like a bad 4 beast. For Xyz, we're just playing some rank 4 noise, 101 in Castel because they're good, Xyz because we don't have room for Utopia, and Kidori because we're in Wind. We can also make 3s, and because we banish so much, Leviair seems like the best option there. So let's jump into the games. So, because we live in hell, our first game is going to be against Zodiac Noid. This is playing cards like That Grass Looks Greener, which are just absurd. He's going to get to go first and mill 10,000 cards off the top of his deck by using grass. In there are 2 Fairy Tale Snows and no copies of Ratpier, just classic. He's going to add a Ratpier to his hand and then go immediately into Wild Bow, Tiger Mortar, special summoning another one, and then, of course, Broad Bull, which is going to special summon another one. He will then go into the Bujin that you can't destroy and also mills the top 5 cards of your deck, Drancia, and then make a Noid he's picked on Choku, God, I can't say this name. This one negates spells, traps, or effects, which is not great for me, by tributing 1 monster. So I figure the first thing I need to stop is the Drancia. To do that, I'll just normal summon any guy that can beat over it, and he's immediately going to destroy it, not wanting my Canahawk to go off. This means I can Ice Spell, that gets a Class Spell, and of course that gets a Snow Bell, but unfortunately he's going to chain a copy of Fairy Tale Snow, which will flip one of them face down, leaving me unable to special summon the Snow Bell and, like, go into a cool synchro. Still, this guy's 1,000 attacks, so I can at least get over the Drancia. He's going to Twin Twist at the end of my turn, which stops my Steeds that couldn't do anything anyway. During his turn, he's going to activate Reasoning. I see there are 2 Decatrons in the graveyard, so I'm like, I'll just pick 4, and what do you know, I get it on the first one. It is a Fairy Tale Snow, so that's not great for me, but still better than nothing. He's going to walk over my 1,000 defense guy, and then do another 26 to me. I'm in kill range, so I need to start playing a little safer. He's going to go into Emerald, and then shuffle a bunch of cards back in, basically just Decatrons, and end his turn. I get an E-Telly, and I figure that'll probably bait the Noid activation, so let's do that now. He does, in fact, negate, and I figure, cool, that leaves me open to Lara, which gets Canahawk, and allows me to start making Ulti Canahawk plays. He activates a Fairy Tale Snow, thinking he can turn it face down, but I will port out in response. That just means I'm getting 1 less Ritual Beast spell, which is bad, but not the worst. We're going to go ahead and banish a card with Apelio, go back out into Ulti Canahawk, and then return 2 cards to add a Steeds to our hand, which we will use to destroy something, hopefully. He's going to go ahead and start the combat phase. I'm going to flip this Steeds. He's going to Onoklu to negate it, which tributes the Fairy Tale Snow, and I'm like, well, at least I'm not dead. He'll attack over these 2, but I'm still going to, you know, survive the turn. I have setups afterwards, but wouldn't you know it, I don't really have a good handle on just how powerful Fairy Tale Snow is. He banishes his whole hand and board in order to get one out, and then the remaining cards in his graveyard to get the other one out. And that's it. So that was a beating, but a pretty good game all around, I think. We've opened Windwitch Ice Spell against Raidraptors, which seems like it should be game over. We do get to go first, so we'll go ahead and special her, get Glass Bell, go ahead and get Snowbell, burn him for a little bit because I guess they have a burn aspect or something. Go into Winter, burn for another 800, and then go into Crystal Wing. We'll then set 4 and pass. One of those 4 is macro. Flip that up during draw step, and he's going to set 1, end his turn. Now, unfortunately, none of these cards are really live because we don't have Ritual Beast, but we do draw a Canahawk off the top, so now we're a little off at the races. If he can destroy this Canahawk, our ambush will be on, which is pretty good. We're going to go ahead and attack. I really wanted to do 3,000 to him, but of course it has more than 1,400 defense. We'll destroy it. It gets banished, which is awesome for us. He's going to normal summon Tribute Lanius. I figure that's probably a target I should be Crystal Winging. He's going to chain Swallow's Nest to port it out, but I figure, oh, that's a pretty good target for Solemn Warning. So after that entire chain resolves, he gets nothing, and I get the Crystal Wing activation, and it is my turn once again. So we're going to go ahead and activate Canahawk, and he decides he doesn't want to sit through the Ritual Beast masturbation. So for our third match, we have the rematch, Zodiac Infernoid once again against Ritual Beast. He gets to go first, as always, but while he has found a Molmorat, he actually found 2, which is a little better for me because it means special summoning 1 is going to minus him just a little bit, if you can even call it that. He'll go ahead and use the old combo to special summon his entire army of Zodiac Rat Peers, go into Drancia, and of course go into the Bujin Man who cannot be killed. Thankfully, he does not really get a Noid off, which is what I like to see. We're going to go ahead and, because we have Dimensional Fissure, be able to do a lot this turn. We'll start with Tamer, which he will immediately destroy. That allows us to Ice Bell, which allows us to get Glass Bell, and of course Snowbell. This represents, as always, the one, the only Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Now, because we actually used a copy of Tamer Elder, we get our normal summon and can normal summon this Canahawk, which we'll use to add Rampengu and then walk over the Drancia. Now, he uses a copy of Zodiac Beast Viper to make sure that these two banish each other after combat, but little does he know that my deck wants to be banished. I'll send 1 copy of these Molmorats off of the Bujin just because he's been attacked, but unfortunately it does go to the graveyard because Dimensional Fissure is not macro. He'll go ahead and banish the Seasonal Detection or Zodiac combo, which allows him to put a whole bunch of shit back in his deck and in his extra. He's going to normal summon a Fairy Tale Snow to flip my guy face down, and I figure, unfortunately, I am going to have to negate that. It gets banished, which is fine. He's going to special summon a Molmorat or a Rat Peer because this had a Rat Peer as an Xyz material, and then go into a Drancia to destroy my Crystal Wing. Unfortunately, because I used a Snowbell, it does not get destroyed. Afterwards, he'll go into Bullhorn, go ahead and search his way to a Viper, attach the Viper, and banish the 2 of them, taking 3650. So that's pretty good for me, but not the best. Thankfully, I can kill the Bujin, which is what I need, and then I'll flip up this ambush to get back the Canahawk and the Elder. That should be game over. We'll go ahead and use the Canahawk to banish a Lara, go into Ulti Canahawk, do the old-fashioned combo, return that guy back to the extra deck, return 1 card to my graveyard, and add a card to my hand. We'll get a Steeds. Next, we'll banish an Apelio, and unfortunately, I should have done that first. A little bit of a misplay there, so we'll just have to normal summon an Apelio and then remove 1 in order to effectively tag out. Afterwards, we will tag back in after banishing a card for the Apelio, and he decides he doesn't want to sit through it. So we're back with the deck. I mean, I have mixed feelings. Obviously, Ritual Beast operates in a world where it routinely does not have monsters on its side of the field, and there's not really a time that Ice Bell is particularly dead, but at the end of the day, the 2 engines aren't really doing anything for each other. It just ends up being making Crystal Wing is good enough sometimes. It has nothing to do with the actual Ritual Beast game plan, and the only synergy the 2 strategies have is that they don't counter each other, insofar that Windwitch doesn't prevent you from, you know, still making Ritual Beast plays. All in all, adds a lot of much-needed power to the Ritual Beast archetype, but unfortunately doesn't fix any of Ritual Beast's shortcomings. And while making Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon is a pretty good backup plan, as shown through the duels, I mean, it's routinely not good enough, especially in a world where so many decks are going to have access to so many consistent and powerful strategies. It might just be worth looking elsewhere. So that's that. Even though I sounded really defeatist in the post-game chat, I promise I had a lot of fun with the strategy. If you want to see me play the decks that I make on this show on stream, I'm on Twitch every Monday and Wednesday from 9:30 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time. And if you want a certain deck or archetype to be played in a future episode of this show, let me know in the comment section below, and I will do my best to accommodate you. Otherwise, I'll see you Thursday.